This country has failed to put in proper measures as it relates to disaster readiness or disaster preparedness. I don't even think there's a proper shelter in those areas. What is a shelter? A shelter is not a school. A shelter is not a school. A shelter should have certain amenities that can attend to concerns such as health, safety, security, rehabilitation, things of that nature. There's no proper shelter. So what the people have to do? Have 35 residents residing at the schools while students are trying to get through classes. And I'm asking you tonight, do you believe that this is a solution to the problem? No long-term vision, no form of forward thinking. Now we have students who are going to be distracted because a lot of them, they have not fully recovered from the trauma of Hurricane Melissa. But them say school must start. On top of that, while having to try and remember their notes and prepare for exams, they have to look around and see 35 other people who are homeless as well. My question is, what type of environment is this that is going to be conducive for learning and development? What kind of environment at these schools, at this school, is going to create a space where students can do well in their examinations, where the 35 residents can feel some sense of hope? It is a failure on the part of the government. It is a failure. I was having a conversation yesterday. I think I mentioned it. I was having a conversation with some persons on my TikTok, and we were talking, and a labor right came up. And we asked him the question, tell us clearly what were the preparations done by the government pre-Hurricane Melissa, and tell us of the initiatives that were done post-Hurricane Melissa that gives you the confidence that this government has done the best thing where Hurricane Melissa is concerned. And ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't tell a lie tonight. Instead of putting us to shame then, because here you get an opportunity to tell us why the Prime Minister is the best Prime Minister to take us through disasters, why this government is the best. Instead of coming and putting us all to shame, the JLP supporter mentioned the 18 years that PNP was in power. What can go so? What can go so? Instead of giving us the facts, if there be any facts to support your argument that the government did its best, because remember, the lady from World Bank said that this is a world leading response. If you agree with her, then tell us what was done before Melissa and what is being done after Melissa. That is so grand. It is one to write home about. It is one to go down in the history books. And instead of telling us, all they could have done is tell us about the 18 years that PNP was in power. Pivot, beat around the bush, go around the corner, they jump over the wall. They no direct answer. You know why? Because the government doesn't have a plan. There's no plan of action. There's no POA. So because there's no plan of action, they're doing things as they go along. The country don't know what direction this country is going. Before Melissa, while we're on the point of the Westmoreland schools and the shelters, I have to bring it up. Because before Melissa, and I'm going to say it again, the relevant questions were asked. I hear some people talking about nobody could prepare for a natural disaster. Lie. That's a lie from the pit of hell.
Cuba prepared.
Cuba.
One Cuban died.
Cuba prepared. And not one Cuban lost their life because they prepared. Proper preparation will prevent destruction. So what's the excuse? And remember that this JLP government both say we're better than Cuba because manly did want to turn the country in a communist and that. And them say, Cuba poor and that. Well, Cuba did prepare. And because of the preparation, no lives were lost. So I'm asking you tonight, be objective. You labor rights supporters. You're Jamaicans, you know. So me have to love you know. But I cannot take this unreasonable reasoning. How are you going to tell me that this country was prepared? Remember that the Prime Minister said it, you know. The Prime Minister said that the country was ready for Melissa. Yet we did have proper shelters. We never have proper shelters. Some of the so-called shelters don't even have disinfectant. Remember that Mr. Stevens went there recently and had to basically...
Feces. I smell feces.
He smelled feces. So you say you're turning the schools in shelters, but not even cleaning supplies? No cleaning agent? It never dawned on you. It never come to your mind that you'd have to prepare the people with all of these things. No, not even blankets. Some of the people them have is the blanket drive. That PDTV news started. Why many persons and other persons giving started to get blankets. Because PDTV said, no man, a lot of them cold, the shelters are cold. And we say, make we start give blankets. And when we start give blankets, people start give blankets. So I'm saying, what was the visionary preparation that was done? Why you are going to be barefaced in telling us that the government was ready. Dr. Reed worked with him, very close to him, while I was guild president. He said that senior doctors say, because he represents the medical association, right? Senior doctors say leptospirosis outbreak after Melissa was predictable, of course. And if something is predictable, it means that it could have been prepared for. And I'm going to go back, because I'm not going to forget these things, you know. When Dr. Dawes stood up in the last PMP conference, one is to be had tomorrow. And when Dr. Dawes was in Parliament recently, he brought up the concerns of creating a man-made disaster if the government fails to act and to act quickly. But instead of taking constructive criticisms and caution, instead of looking beyond color, you know what the government did? The government said that Dr. Dawes was playing politics.
Fear-mongering.
And he's fear-mongering the people and he's an alarmist. And no such thing. And of course, you know the labor rights who follow the Pied Piper. They will come and say, a propaganda party. No outbreak now gonna happen. Because they are taking the cue from how they see their leaders respond to serious concerns like these. So they shun it. No concern. But see there? Major outbreak. And let me tell you, this is not just in the West.
Tell them about Spanish tongue.
It's not just in the West. I don't want people to believe that just because the outbreak started there, it's this alone. In Spanish Town, there's a concern. I was at Friendship Primary School this morning. Andre keeping devotion with the children. And the principal said that they're going to have a major cleanup initiative just to ensure that the students will always keep the place clean, because they are also being warned about the possibilities of leptospirosis in their environment. So Tufton said that Dr. Dawes was still campaigning. Can you imagine? How can the real doctor be campaigning He knows. He knows the possibilities of what can happen if we don't take these things seriously. So see there? Senior doctors, the committee, the boards are saying that this was predictable after such a major rainfall.
I send you the original video.
Ishmael, put up that video, Ishmael.
That video, Ishmael, ball out.
We have to ball out tonight. We're gonna
Ball out! Whoa! Yo. We need help, Jesus. Jamaica need help. Shift the parliament. Shift the election. Shift everything.
So we're gonna play that video because we need to understand. They said it was AI, Mr. Stevens.
Yes.
They said it was AI. So that, so everybody have excuse for things, of that nature, man.
Yeah, post it low.
But ladies and gentlemen, when Dr. Dawes raised the issue, it's a very serious conversation we're having tonight. It was predictable. You cannot, as a health apparatus, as the health minister, be so slight when something like this is expected after such heavy rainfall. Remember that Melissa hovered over the country for some time. You can imagine that the rats, their habitats would have been destroyed, flooded out. So you're going to expect rats to be all over the place. You're going to expect flooding. You're going to expect dead dogs, dead this, dead that. You're going to expect all of these things. Therefore, there should have been a better response, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I'm saying tonight. There should have been a better response from this government.
Thank you very much, Dr. Spence. So at this time, I'm going to ask our international partner or multilateral partner, Ian Stein, country rep for the Pan American Health Organization, who is with us and has been a critical part of our Melissa response with the support, both in kind and with other supplies and technical support, to just comment on the approach and any other suggestions for the public. Thank you, Ian.
So you see video proof, video evidence as to where the concerns of the minister is.
Choose Jamaica for our prosperity.
You see where the concerns are and where the focus is. And that's why leptospirosis. That's why leptospirosis. Men account for all 8 suspected leptospirosis deaths. So I don't want persons to feel as if, and even in the ministers that morning, when the Minister of Health confirmed the outbreak or declared the outbreak, because when you have an increased amount of cases regarding to a particular health concern, the protocol under the Ministry of Health is to declare an outbreak. And even in declaring the outbreak, there was this condescending tone from the minister as if, don't take this too seriously. It's as if he still wanted to make it seem as if there was nothing to be worried about. And I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen, this could have been avoided. One, there was no proper information given to the persons in these areas as to the possibilities as to how they should operate in the environment. A lot of people, I don't know if the government assumed that persons would just know that the possibilities of leptospirosis could break out, tetanus, and other things. You can't just assume that people would know what to do in a time like this. You as the government, with the know-how, must go to the people, inform them, clean up the place. Look how long we've been saying, clean up the place. Clean up the place. And now there's an outbreak in the land. Not just in the West, but even us on this side are being cautioned. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm saying tonight, we cannot beat around the bush. And I will not take cues from somebody who don't live in the country. I can't take cues from the lady from World Bank and say that this is a world leading response. You can say that. I am a Jamaican. I live here. We have been on the ground. I know what the response has been like. And I'm telling you, with all the credentials you may have, I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that the response from this government has been poor. The PSOJ wrote a letter directly to the Prime Minister saying the very same thing. Saying the very same thing, that the response is slow, and they gave recommendations. They spoke about the National Oversight Committee. They spoke about the cleaning up. They spoke about the transparency. They spoke about all the things that other advocates have been trumpeting for some weeks now. But this government takes no talk because it's a badness government. It's a we are above the fray. We not take talk. We do what we want to do. That's why we can even flaunt certain lifestyle, even in the faces of the people. And nobody should have a problem with it because guess what? We are who we are. We don't get the third term already. We can't do nothing about it. As a matter of fact, fourth term is loading. The devil is a liar. And I'm saying tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this government failed miserably before Melissa, and I have no concrete reasons to believe that even after Melissa, they've done their best. I cannot say objectively that they've done their best. Ladies and gentlemen, I will not lie. They did not do their best. We can only pray and hope that there is some change in the trajectory forward. If you want me to be objective, show me. Show me. Do the work. Do right by the people. Be transparent. We still not hear nothing about the Japanese donations and others. Why Asafa, Spice, and other persons can build house before you? You have the resources. You have the billions and billions of dollars. If you want us to be objective and to give you credit, because a lot of the labor rights say, boy, Perry, when the government do good, you know, say none. I cannot tell a lie. Do the work and we will be objective, but you failed. And I'm not even surprised. When the Prime Minister called an election in the middle of COVID, I shouldn't even be surprised.